back lot back here, this is 11,000 square feet, is this. That has a two-bedroom house on it in the back. That's serviced by a cesspool that's right there in the salt marsh. So on this site, we have a salt marsh, a vegetated salt marsh, which looks like this. And off of that, we have, in the town of Scituate, a 50-foot buffer line, which does something to that effect right there. The 100-foot buffer encompasses the entire property. So what my client's looking at doing is he's looking at the front house, he's looking at taking that down, putting a new house up. It would be a new two-bedroom house, but it would be elevated up on piles. This is in the floodplain as well. The new house location is right here. It's largely over the footprint of the existing house, but it would be right there, okay. On the back lot, we want to take down the house that's there and put up a new house. Again, the new house would be up on piles. We would take that house where it sits right now, it's only 7 feet away from the salt marsh. We're going to pull that forward and provide a minimum of a 17-foot setback to that house. That new house, 36R, goes right there. So when I look at the septics on both individual lots here, if I'm looking at the front lot, the location that I have would be in this corner. Naturally seems like the best fit for me. It's as far from the wetlands as I can get it. It's the highest location on the property that I can get it topography-wise, okay? If I look at the back lot, there's no room outside of the 50-foot buffer to site a septic system. And so what we've done, since my client owns both properties, is we've put an easement over this front lot so that we can site the septic system for the back house on this front lot. And then this house here is serviced by its own septic system right next to it. So we've got two septics there. Number 36 serviced by its own on its own lot. 36R serviced in a new system on an easement on this front. We've presented this initially to the Conservation Commission. They had some questions regarding the wetlands delineation out here. So we've met with their wetlands consultant. There was a question on whether or not the side yard over here had a wetland in it or not. We're more than confident that it does not have a wetland in it, so that we will be using this as our wetland delineation. There's a lengthy list, as there are on many of the Minot properties, for what we would ask for local upgrades. I think they're all upgrades that the commission has, or the board has approved before. But kind of wanted to present it to you, like I said, get your initial feedback. I can go through what each of the waivers are, but this really seemed like the best location. This is a lawn area right now. It provides greater setbacks from the two cesspools to these systems. At the closest distance, this septic system, which is the rear house, it's 46 feet from the wetland line to the soil absorption system. So.
Well, I'm quite familiar with that property. I think that's the best you can do.
Yeah, it's not an increase in flow in either scenario. It's in there, will be deed restricted. They're both deed restricted to 2 bedrooms. But like I said, we go back to Conservation Commission, and you know, I'd like to indicate that these locations are generally acceptable.
Which way does the wetland go to the, would that be to the west?
Sure, so this is Bailey's Causeway, Hatherley Road, Hatherley Country Club's up here. You're driving toward Minot Beach.
Yeah.
So right here, this is the last house on the right-hand side. This is where the marsh is, and there's a culvert under Bailey's Causeway.
Okay.
Bailey's Causeway, this Bailey's Creek flows this way to Cohasset Harbor.
I got you, so it's
Yep.
upland.
So
to
from
the
here,
west.
it's going up a
Yeah.
hill over here.
And is there any wetland across the street of Bailey's Causeway?
There's a wetland right here. That was one of the things that we just picked up. There's a 50-foot buffer which comes onto the front of this property. It doesn't touch the septic though there.
And there's a parking lot over there. too, right?
The town's beach parking lot's right here,
Okay.
yeah.
So that should probably be shown on the plan as well. Now, is this a year-round house or are they summer cottages?
He does rent them out currently. When the new houses go up, they'd be year-round houses.
Now, those are
But
the
they're
first
currently
two
summer
on
cottages.
the left.
I don't know, to be
Right.
honest with you.
If you're going
Because
to
that would be a
Minot,
question
right,
I-
like
I
across
would-
from the parking lot, and then-
So if you're coming from Minot, going towards Hadley Country Club, it's those first two
on the left, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the question I just asked was if they were summer cottages or year-round cottages, and that can't be answered at this time. I don't know if you know, you say you're familiar with it, I don't know if you've done business with the people or not, or.
I haven't done business with them, but I live right around the corner, and I have seen tenants in the house.
Yeah, I know
Tenants in the
someone,
house, but are they there year-round or are they there in the summer?
the front one is.
Yeah,
I
they aren't exclusively summer cottages.
Yeah, the front
Or
one,
haven't
I
been
know
used as.
someone's lived there, one person,
Yeah.
an older person.
I can certainly find that answer out to you.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because it's tough for me to turn something in, like, these probably were original summer cottages, and if they're still summer cottages, it's tough to see somebody upgrade them to a year-round house for year-round use with the limitations so tight that they are. And it almost warrants the fact that it would continue to be used as a summer cottage, in my opinion. I think that upgrade, it's tight.
Yeah, it's real tight.
It is.
Really, really tight.
It's tight, and you've got a house without any frontage, which is not a Board of Health issue, but it's so close to that. Are they in the same ownership?
They are in the same ownership, yes.
Yeah, it's almost a zoning thing where they almost need to redefine that line and to put some sort of, and again, it's not a Board of Health thing, but it seems like there should be frontage put on.
That back lot. Yeah,
Because I know there's a provision for if there's two houses on the same lot, you can subdivide it, but it still has to have frontage. And so now you're getting into an easement, so if it's two separate lots, you can sell it and you're creating a septic system with an easement on the other property. It can have problems in the future, and I'd rather, now's the time to analyze it a little more before you just rubber stamp it and say, hey, off we go. Just food for thought, that's all. That's all. Yeah, there's not much more you can do there, but I'd really, I'd like to take a drive by it before I do anything, to actually look at the house and see.
Yeah, it is tight, I know that, and I know when this comes over, it goes into the driveway. The driveway's on this side.
yes, it is. Yeah, there was back in the late 70s, the town actually raised the elevation of Bailey's Causeway by almost 2 feet. And when they did that, it used to cause a lot more flooding on this property. And then he came on and he went to the Conservation Commission and got permission to construct a berm. So there's actually out here in the salt marsh, there's like a 3-foot high berm or a dike that does that, which almost works. Well, it helps a little bit, except in rain events. It helps keep out high tides. But if you have significant rain coming onto the site, the berm holds the rain on this side. So
Right.
yeah, you're right, there is water that does pool into the driveway area. A lot of it's rainwater as opposed to the tidal water because of that berm.
And that's all natural, I didn't look at the soil logs too much, but that's all natural soil there, there's no fill?
If there was fill, there was maybe a foot or so of fill on top. We went through a layer of peat and then we broke into sand underneath that. So, yeah, we did 4 test pits, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once we surveyed it, figured out.
So it's almost, it was wetland and somebody filled it and put a foot over it to get it up over. If there's peat there, it's filled. And again, that causes a concern for me that, yeah, you're taking the peat out, I get that, but
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
wetlands by soil.
Not, at one point in time, I absolutely agree with you, it would have been a wetland,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
As long as my clients owned it since the 70s, it's been a lawn area, and it's got a house and a septic on it. So, you had a similar scenario down at the end
I'm not
of
trying to take value
Buttonwood.
away, I don't want
Yeah.
to, I don't want to destroy the
Absolutely.
value,
Yep,
but I also don't want to see it fail or come back.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden, you had something that was being used for 2 or 3 months out of the year, and maybe it had heavy use because you have a lot of family or whatever else, but now you upgrade the house to a year-round house, and instead of 2 to 3 months, you're getting a full 12 months out
Lots
of
of
it.
flow out of it.
Yeah.
And 2 bedrooms, you're talking
Yeah.
2, 4 people.
Yeah, so like I say, now's the time to analyze it, and look at it, and see if there's a different solution or not.
So I'm hopeful that on Monday, we will come to resolve with the Conservation Commission on the extent of the wetland line here. And then after that, I would expect that their next meeting, which would be, probably their first meeting in August, that we would be back in front of them, hopefully seeking an approval. So I don't know if this is something that between now and if you have an early August meeting or a second meeting in July, if you wanted to do a site visit, we could either visit the site yourselves, or I'd be glad to meet you down there and walk the site with you. And, after next week's Conservation Commission meeting, hopefully we can give it a little more thought and really nail down some of these outstanding items. So maybe that's the path to take here. Our other thought process was, you might be right in the side here, I mean, that certainly was a wetland at some point. Where the houses sit themselves, though, those are full concrete foundations right now. We had thought about putting septics underneath the houses. That's not considered a wetland currently. But to me, that's counterintuitive, because that's closer than what we've proposed. We've put them kind of at the highest spot, and although there is peat
But
there.
Is there size restriction on these? I mean, have you reduced the size of them?
So we have them down to 2-bedroom size,
Okay.
and that's
But I
it.
mean, the fields are 100% for 2 bedroom.
They're 100% for 2 bedrooms, yes. Yep, they are. So,
Yes, I mean, in that respect, that's a good thing, but would it be in an area where you have to, if you went up, would it go up on pilings, or the houses are out of the
So
flood
the-
zone, they're not worried about
so
that?
they're on pilings, yeah. It's in an A zone, so you're not required to do pilings, but we're doing pilings anyways. You could just do standard flood vents. So,
Right, so like you said, if you did the pilings, you could go.
Put it underneath it.
Right, right.
So there's no setbacks to the foundations, necessary in this case here. It does comply with the setbacks to the neighbor, being at 10 feet. Yes.
It does, okay.
It does.
That we had concerns about the notification requirements,
Yeah,
that's all.
there's no notification here
Well, the
because,
setbacks brought to the septic tank in the pump chamber for, I think, one in the back would need, I think, is a property setback.
Because the chamber's within
36R.
10 feet, isn't it?
The septic tank and the chamber.
no, they are not.
36R?
No. So the one in the front, it's a setback to our own property line. We own the abutting property, so there's no notification.
To the right or to the back?
So the house in the front, right here,
Yeah.
has a tank right here. It's supposed to be 10 feet from this lot line.
Okay.
It's 5. We own that property, so
Right.
you're required to notify that
Okay.
property, and that's the
And
applicant.
what about the tank? Where's the tank
The
gonna
tank
be?
for this one is right here on this side of the
And that's
house.
where it's gonna stay?
Yep, so this is the only abutter here.
Right, yeah.
We're not within 10 feet of their lot line.
No,
Okay.
I just didn't wanna
Craig,
not notify someone that
Yeah.
we should have.
Yep.
can you point out the new home that's there, the exact spot?
On the abutting property?
Yeah.
Yes. So this house right here is about right here. It's a house that's currently under construction.
Okay.
They put a new septic system in 2001, which is about right there in the front. Yep, and their driveway runs right here from what I can tell. It's not paved yet, but, yeah. So, we have been in touch with them. I have a meeting in my office with them tomorrow to talk about the project. But we've been to the zoning board. They received notifications of that. The zoning board approved the house locations here because, as was pointed out, the back lot doesn't have any frontage. We had to go to zoning for that. The front lot, being under 10,000 square feet, we had to go to zoning for that.
Did they approve?
Yes, zoning board approved it. And then conservation, we certainly provided notification, and she's been involved with the conservation process thus far.
Surprised they approved it, there's no frontage. Doesn't make any sense.
So it's we didn't create this line, that was an existing line. It's got an existing house on it, and so we're not creating,
Oh, I got you.
we're not creating any
So
new
there's a whole-
nonconformities.
I guess I'm getting out of Board of Health, and I understand that.
Yep.
Is there legal access, is there an easement?
There's an easement down this driveway to that, as well as this property has rights on Birch Lane. Birch Lane is a it's a paper street. You could traverse it, no one
So
does,
there's your frontage then on Birch Street.
but it
on
does,
Birch
it has,
Lane.
it does,
So
yeah.
that's your frontage then?
So,
Yeah, it's just not accessible frontage.
it's not access, it's not, it was never built, so they access via an easement. Yeah.
But legally,
They have frontage.
you have frontage. Yeah, no, well, that makes sense. I
Yep.
didn't see that there and all the other mumbo jumbo that's here.
Yep.
Um,
So,
Yeah, so then they have a right to pass and repass and whatever else.
right.
So I have a question, so did zoning ask you to consider putting the driveway on the other side over the Legion Field?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing. Right now, the driveway to this house out back, and for this one, is right here. You drive in this way, and this is a gravel access, okay? What we're doing now with this septic, we're mounting the septic up. Right now, it's at elevation 7. We're coming up to about elevation 10, so it's about a 3-foot high mound. Over that mound becomes our new driveway, so that there's 2 parking spaces for this house, there's 2 parking spaces for this house in the back. So this driveway gets eliminated, and this here becomes an access easement as well as a utility easement for the septic in the back.
And all your piping and everything is done, that it's not gonna crush it, crush anything.
No, it's all, designed for H20 or for, vehicular load over the chambers. The tanks are outside the driveway locations. But it's designed to
Now, when you
accommodate
say
that.
vehicular load, if they come in with heavy machinery or the moving truck comes in, is that gonna damage it? I mean,
So these chambers here, these will handle like a standard, like a UPS truck or a box truck. They're not gonna handle a fully loaded dump truck, but,
stupid question, I
Yep.
get it. But if I had a driveway over my septic system, I would wanna know what it could handle and couldn't handle, because you don't want the moving truck to back down it, and all of a sudden his tires sunk 2 feet.
yeah,
Everybody's looking at each other.
absolutely.
You didn't tell me that was there.
Heard that.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me this truck wouldn't
Yeah.
handle it.
Okay. So-
I don't know if, leave it to you for an official site visit. My only question is about the cottage or not a cottage, that's my
Right.
biggest thing. See
Yeah.
what the houses are there. I just hate, I don't wanna take value, I never would, it's not what I'm here for anyways. But I hate to see something get overbuilt when it really shouldn't be. If you had a summer cottage and it was a summer cottage for years with the conditions that are set forth there, it probably should stay a summer cottage, in my opinion.
Right.
I'm not saying anything what you two might think, but you overload that area and you could have a problem. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time to address it. We're in no rush. You don't have to approve it tonight. You're comfortable with it in 2 weeks, then comfortable with it in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the area, I've seen the water, I didn't know about the berm, but I've seen the water in and around this house.
Yep.
But like you said, there might be one person living in there all year round, now you got maybe 3, 4 people living there all year round. The units are gonna, and then, I don't know about the back, I've never seen people in and out of there, but, I knew the person that was living in front, so.
Okay.
But like you said, now you got 4 people living, 2
So
houses
maybe,
built.
do you know, do you still have contact with them? Maybe a question to ask is the house with garage or not with garage?
Yeah, I can find out.
Yeah, I can certainly find out for you.
Yeah.
The front one or the back one, and then it's a decision, the board has to think about, we'll wait on it,
Yeah, I don't think she's there anymore, but I can find out.
Yeah, like you said, you weren't looking for a decision, so.
No. But I didn't hear a definitive no either.
Yeah.
So that's,
No.
the Conservation Commission was wondering if this was, tight tank. And I don't see anything here that the board hasn't approved in other scenarios, and I don't see a tight tank at this. I see that as a last resort.
Right.
So I'd like to at least express that, we're
Yeah.
moving toward a
I think
a
when you're
design.
tearing everything down and restarting from fresh, you're really restarting it from fresh. It's like almost new construction. The like I say, that's where you see the problems, when
Yep.
the use kind of changes, I guess that's what it is, it's almost a change of use at this point, on such a tight lot. I mean, I'm guessing more than 50% of this is wetland on that lot.
The back one.
You
The
know,
back one there, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And that
probably
lot
close
can
to it.
support its own septic
So,
system. It can, it would have to have a tight tank.
as a standalone lot, I would agree with you,
Yeah,
but the benefit is that it's
Well,
it's got out front to go with it.
yeah, today it's
So,
owned in
today.
in common ownership.
Yep.
Tomorrow it might not, you might say, hey, you know what, I'm a little tight
Right.
on cash, I'll sell off the back lot.
Yep.
And,
now
who
that-
knows who
That
buys it?
easement's
One
in
year you
place,
got the
great.
best neighbor, the next year you got the neighbor from hell. Or the other neighbor from hell, who knows?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Again, that's why sometimes good fence builds better neighbors.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Old surveyor's adage. So,
Those are motions to continue.
yeah, just make a motion to continue, yeah. Yeah, make a motion to continue, unless you guys see fit for
Yep,
something.
No.
sounds good.
Great.
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
That's a little bad. I got the gist of it.
All right.
Thank you.
Discuss about septic, system design hearing, 44 Ridge Road, Morrison Engineering representing request for installation of septic requiring local upgrades and variances.
Again, Greg Morse for the record. This is a septic repair at 44 Ridge Hill Road. Ridge Hill Road's at the bottom of the page here. This is an existing three-bedroom, single-family home. In the back of the property, there is a wetland in the backyard. This is our wetland line in the back. The 100-foot buffer zone extends into the front yard. The existing system is in the front yard. What we're proposing to do is to put in a new septic system. What's out there failed Title V. It's probably an original system to the house. The new system, we'd pick up the plumbing, we'd put in a new tank. This is a Hoot aerobic treatment tank. Second to that would be a pump chamber, and then this is a drip system, a geoflow drip system located in the front yard. So it's one of the IA systems. It would require a deed restriction. It does require a maintenance agreement. But we're in front of you basically because we have two local upgrade approvals. The first one is a setback from the septic tank to the foundation. You're required to have a minimum distance here of 10 feet. We have it proposed at a distance of 8.2 feet on that. Secondarily, the plumbing coming out of the house to get into the septic tank, typically you're supposed to have 12 inches from the invert into the tank to the groundwater table. And we can't comply at this site with that. We're asking for a reduction down to 2 inches of separation from the groundwater table to the invert of that tank. The tanks are monolithic tanks. They're sealed with hydraulic cement at the pipe inlet and outlet connections. And they are above the water table by 2 inches. So, Conservation has approved this through an RDA filing, so it's to you now.
So, the tank, you say it's monolithic, what plastic you say?
It's concrete. It's a concrete
Okay.
tank.
So
Yep.
you put extra heavy top on it so it keeps it down?
So and it has an extended base on it,
Okay.
is what it is. It's an extended base. That way at the
Just
bottom
in
of the
case you
tank,
get a flood, it's
exactly, it's not gonna float.
not
Yep.
gonna float. Okay. I'm
Yep.
comfortable with that.
It's not an increase in flow. It's 3 to 3
I'll
bedrooms.
steer that
Um,
pump.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, boat.
Off
Seen
it
pump
goes.
out there?
No.
Ain't great. It's expensive to fix.
Yep.
Did you guys have anything?
Look good, double thumbs up.
There you go.
I like those.
Cisco and Ebert. Good?
Yeah.
Good. Move to approve the septic repair plan requested pending Conservation Commission approval, not pending, they've already approved it.
Yes.
Okay. So, move to approve the septic repair plan requested, with the local upgrades that includes, 1, request for a reduction of the required 10-foot setback to proposed 8 feet for the pump chamber to the foundation. 2, request for the reduction of the required 12-inch to the proposed 2-inch separation between inlet and outlet tees and high groundwater.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Discuss and vote change the Wednesday, November 6th meeting to Monday, November 4th to accommodate.
Tomorrow.
Will you remind us this?
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
Move to change the meeting date from Wednesday, November 6th to Monday, November 4th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Director's report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, board members. So we have 6 new septic plans under the 45-day review period. We have 10 sets of plans awaiting for engineering revisions. 2 sets of plans are awaiting Concom reviews. We have 8 new private wells under 30-day review, and we have 17 failed systems currently. A couple of those are in the process of being hooked up into town, so that should be coming down as we go. We are in the summertime. We just finished our July 4th weekend. Summer beach water testing has begun. The first week, all 6 of our beaches passed wonderfully. During the week of July 4th, Lighthouse Beach has failed. It also failed on a resample. The count that we got on the first test on the on the Tuesday before July 4th was around 1,500, I believe, 1,600.
That's up there.
So, and that's gonna, it's not a rain situation or anything else, so that's gonna affect the geomean when we come in. When we resampled it on Wednesday, it still came back high. We went out and posted it on Thursday, July 4th. I got the call around 1:30, 2 o'clock on July 4th that it came back still high. I believe it was 175.
Yeah.
So we went out and posted it on July 4th. It did not pass. We retested it on the 4th. We retested it on the 5th. Still hasn't passed. The sign is still up right now. When the geomean kicks in, which is going to be coming up right now, even if we knocked out of the box that first 1,500 number, on the way that the beach sampling is, the geomean, the enterococci count can't be higher than 35 per milliliter of ocean water. We're getting reads of 175, 165, even if we had 5 reads of, 85, which is gonna be below the 104 standard for a weekly testing. You have 4 of those or 5 of those, that's gonna bring us up over the geomean. So, Lighthouse Beach is gonna be a problem. We're really gonna have to do, and I think it's partly the boaters that are either going out of the harbor or maybe coming into the harbor. If it's just urine that's in someone's tank, they might not think that much about it. They may throw a little bleach in and dump it. They're not supposed to. I mean, you have to be at least 5 miles out if you're gonna be dumping in raw sewage. So, and even then you have to treat it with a bleach solution or a chlorine solution. So, Lighthouse Beach is gonna be a problem for us this summer.
Have you contacted the harbor master?
I've been in touch with the yacht clubs. I have not touched base with the harbor master. I will touch base with him. I didn't even think of the harbor master to talk about
I
that.
would ask them to send them out to everybody who's mooring their boats.
I think that's,
Yeah, they have a pump out, and there's another pump.
oh yeah, they have pump out boats.
Yes, there's 2 in the harbor, I believe.
Yeah. But it is right there at the entrance to the harbor as
Is
you're
there any
coming in.
seaweed up on that beach or anything?
No.
It's clean as a
It's-
whistle right
yeah.
now.
What about anything, I mean, they did all that construction down there in, April, May, they had,
They redid the riprap.
yeah,
Yeah, the breakwater, storm breakwater.
It's
I
hard
don't
to
know if
say.
that has anything to do with
I mean,
it.
they like damaged a sewer pipe.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of heavy equipment down
Well,
there.
the first
Yeah.
week it came back good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part that,
Right.
if,
Last year we had a few problems with it.
Lighthouse Beach always seems to have an
Yeah,
issue.
It's
and
an
it-
inlet.
it's in an inlet,
inlets,
yeah.
The problems with the inlets.
you can have visiting boaters coming down.
Yeah.
Could be animal legs.
Could be
Right.
anything, could be
animal legs,
anything.
Could be people walking their dogs.
Yeah, it
And,
could be,
uh,
absolutely. Picking up after your dog is huge,
Right.
huge.
Well, maybe we can ask the animal control, officer to also, they have a Facebook page and send
Yeah.
out, word on their end.
I mean, when you get a reading of like 1,500, 1,600, that to me says it's a boater. If you get something, 175, 180, I think that could be anything.
Mhm.
It could be, you had, 50 ducks in that water 20 minutes before we came down and took a
Right.
sample, who knows? But so Lighthouse Beach is gonna be an issue, we're gonna be working on it. I think get in touch with the harbor master is a great idea.
I wonder if we
On
pop
that.
one of those big numbers again, if I don't know how much the testing costs, but to try to go maybe other places in the harbor to see if the harbor is being
It's-
polluted.
You can do that, and I think a test is like $75 or $80 right now for a single water sample test. And the state right now pays for our beach water for the original one. Anything resampled, we pay. But right now, if it's a beach, the state is picking it up. There's,
It's almost like if you tried off the pier, if you went across to where the old Coast
Coast
Guard
Guard.
boathouse
Yep.
is, and to say, geez, the water's clean here, it's clean here, but it's dirty here, then, maybe we prove it's
could be
not
currents
pollution
coming in,
from-
it could be, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a broken sewer pipe,
Yep.
like we says, it could be dogs, or who knows, but at least then you'd know maybe it's not the boaters,
Yep.
Because
There's
those,
also-
yeah, no, I was just gonna say though, I think most people are cognizant today.
I think they are too, but all it
Yeah.
takes is one.
Well, that's right, and maybe one big one too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you get that cove, and if the wind's blowing westerly and it holds it in there,
Yep.
it's gonna flush a little bit, but
And
it's still there.
It's funny because if another boater saw a boater doing it, I'm sure the boater would be all over him saying, "What are you doing?"
Well, that's right, because
That's their
kids,
playground,
grandkids swimming in
yeah.
it, that's right, you don't wanna,
Exactly.
your own backyard. I don't wanna be
So-
blunt here, but, and some people are ignorant though, they don't
Yeah.
get it, and,
It's like not picking up after your dog, same thing.
yeah, yeah,
It all adds up,
that's right, that's right,
so.
that's right.
The Fiesta Show Carnival is in town. It opens tomorrow night. We'll be down doing the inspection on the food vendors in the afternoon tomorrow. I was down there today. There's only gonna be, I believe, 4 food vendors with Fiesta shows this year, so they do a great job down there. We've never had any issues. They go all throughout the whole South Shore doing shows, and if there was gonna be an issue, I'm sure we would have heard from any town. So they do a great job, and we're really happy that they're down here for the event. And then last thing is mosquito season is upon us, and with it comes Triple E and West Nile virus. So if you have a weakened immune system, you really should be very careful if you're gonna be out at dusk or dawn. Wear mosquito repellent with DEET. Wear long sleeve shirts and pants if you're gonna be out in the yard at those hours. You can also do things around your own home to mitigate some of the mosquitoes. If you have anything that can retain any type of water, make sure you dump it out. Only takes mosquitoes 48 hours to, start to get the larva, and then you're gonna have mosquitoes breeding. So, old tires, upside down Frisbee the wrong way, anything, a pail, a bucket, anything that can hold water. You should really make sure that you go out there, take a walk around your yard and just empty anything out, especially after rains.
I'm laughing, I got some piling caps that are full of water, I'll have to flip them over. You just made me think of it.
There you go.
There you go, thank you,
So-
I'm
so
glad
that-
you brought it up.
That's the big, that's the big thing, check your screens, make sure that if there's any holes in them or anything like that, you bring them down, get them repaired. You can do it yourself, you can go down to the hardware store. But mosquito season is here, and I'm sure we're gonna get a positive West Nile at some point. We do every season, and hopefully we won't get any triple E's, because those are the really scary ones. But if you do have a weakened immune system, just be careful and make sure you protect yourself.
And greenhead season will be starting up soon.
Yes, it will be. That's about it.
Thank you.
All right. Administrative invoices.
Who is Laura Minier?
Social worker?
Oh,
Is there a social director?
She's driving.
Doing a lot of driving.
Take one of those cars up there.
Seriously, does she use the town, those electric cars? I mean, it's,
In a lot of cases, she doesn't want the neighbors to know that she's at particular houses, so.
couple $100.
But it just looks like a lot because it's been 6 months. In my age, she gets so busy that she doesn't sit down.
Buried treasure. Is this money coming in, buried treasure?
Oh, what's that?
That's for our,
Quarters.
Well, that's what
boarding friends.
I
Oh.
figured.
Matt's house and Mrs. Brett.
One man's junk.
Man's treasure.
That's why we watch American Pickers.
From time to time, yeah.
I do enjoy it.
Those guys find everything.
It's amazing. I love the little history lesson they give with it, too.
Yeah.
So what does the mass housing cover?
Mass Housing gives us a grant for, our, boarding down group that we do, and so she offers those, plans.
Oh.
It's through a grant.
Make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
And,
Thought I could make it tonight.
I
Apologize for the other couple of meetings.
Oh.
oh, thank you.